Welcome everyone to a continuation of our mini-series going over the Radious Overhaul Mods addition to the Kislev roster. This time though, we'll be taking a look at the new units showing up for Grand Cathay. As with Kislev, there are a ton of awesome new additions for Grand Cathay, with the majority being Infantry, a few new missile troops, and only a couple cavalry. I'll be keeping the same format going forward as with Kislev, so you can more easily find the exact units you're looking for, so this first episode here will be with the Infantry. Let's get right into it, starting off with a unit I'm honestly surprised isn't already in the game. We have the Peasant Swordsman. You'll be able to recruit these guys anytime you own a settlement from Tier 1, and also from your Tier 1 basic military barracks line. With very low armor, leadership, and melee stats, these lads make for right proper meat shields, keeping the arrows and monsters of your enemies away from those important Celestial Dragon Guard. Their only real upside being they do come with a small amount of bonus versus infantry, which will allow them to perform decent in combat against anti-cavalry style infantry blocks, and quickly carve through archers if you can get them into the back line. They are going to be of Yang harmony like all melee infantry, so they'll always fight better when placed within 60 meters of a yin or a missile unit, and have the expendable tag, making them a decently long-lasting chaff unit that is at home creating a distraction for much stronger units or setting up blobs of baddies to smash with magic or artillery. Up next we have the Fearless Wall. Coming in two variants, you'll be able to recruit them from the second tier basic military barracks. We'll begin with the X variant. These guys are going to be a medium armored infantry adept at not just holding a line, but sundering enemy armor, which will drop armor by 20 of whatever they hit, and ripping through whatever is left with their innate armor piercing damage. They have immune to psychology, making them a solid line for all terror-causing monsters the enemies of Cathay field. And they will be the first units with defensive stance, which will increase their charge resistance and armor after standing still for 10 or more seconds. Moving on to their anti-cavalry variant with the Fearless Wall with halberds. These are also going to be a very solid unwavering line, able to take a charge from the large armored units and start tearing through that armor. Unlike most halberd units, these guys will also be sporting a bronze shield, enabling them to shrug off a few missiles, although with their medium armor you won't want to leave them in direct fire for too long. Go along with their immune to psychology, they also have a charge defense versus large, coupled with a charge reflection. So as long as you're braced, these guys are going to mess up any cavalry foolish enough to make that charge. All of the Fearless Wall unit types are going to perform very well for you, and they look incredible as well. On to the Jade Warriors. We are only missing one variant of our Verdant Warriors, and that is the ones with spears. They are the same Jade Warriors you're used to, just these will be using a silver shield, and have very little in the piercing department. I'm again surprised we don't have these in the base game, as more unit variants just lead to more diverse battle styles and armies. But the spear-wielding Jade Warriors are a very good stock spear unit, not much else to say about them really. They are recruited from the third tier of your minor settlement chain only, or from the third tier of the basic Jade Barracks. For abilities, they have the charge defense versus large and charge reflection combo, as well as the defensive stance and a 10% spell resistance. Our next units are a bit different, as they can be recruited from both the Tier 4 of the Provincial Capital only, as well as the Tier 3 of our defensive wall buildings. The Imperial Road Watch are going to be an awesome looking, heavily armored unit made for sticking in and holding a line, while also passing on a weakness to fire with their melee attack. They have 4 more armor than the Jade Warriors at 96, but are only rocking a Haggard Bronze Shield. They also have better melee stats, slightly, with 38 attack and 57 defense. They have an anti-infantry specialization, and have the Strider trait, allowing them to ignore any terrain penalties, and have a 35% fire resist, allowing them to prime targets for your artillery or fire spells, while taking minimized friendly fire damage. They of course come in the long pokey variant as well for all your monster slaying needs, also with a bronze shield and slightly enhanced combat stats over the Jade Warrior versions of themselves. They will also burn the enemy, dropping leadership by 7 and applying a 15% weakness to fire. These are going to be an awesome addition to keep your flanks safe and boost your artillery and Yang mage armies. They're going to have an expert charge defense as well as reflection, so anything that runs into this line of spears will regret it almost instantly. Onward to our first Tier 3 infantry with the Jade Sea Dragons. Coming in mace and spear flavor, these are easily going to be one of the most versatile units you'll have access to when playing Cathay and Radius. Starting with the mace unit, these guys are going to have a bit less armor than the other elite infantry, but have incredible melee stats at 40 on the attack and 63 defense. They will be applying Charmed on their attacks, lowering enemy attack by 8, and have an armor-piercing weapon strength as well. They also have Vanguard deployment, a silver shield which blocks 55% of missiles fired their way, and a 25% physical resistance. These guys are going to be exactly where you need them on the battlefield due to that Vanguard, and will be incredibly hard to kill with their extra resistances and debuff to enemy attack. While the Spear variant is not wielding a shield, which does make them more susceptible to missile fire, they have almost identical stats to their brain-bashing brethren and will be right at home defending your flanks or being deployed as a trap for enemy cavalry. They will have the same abilities as all other Jade Sea Dragons with Vanguard and 25% physical resist, and as Spear wielders they will also have a charge reflection and expert charge defense. A very versatile, very elite group of spearmen with only one downside in their lack of shield. Onward to something a bit more interesting. If you're looking to bring down your enemies with a droid army, they've got Terracotta for that. The Terracotta automatons are an absolutely incredible looking unit that shrinks down your normal Sentinel and gives you 99 more. An unflinching stone army that would be shattered before run from battle. You'll recruit these little guys from your Tier 2 Celestial Observatory and from some landmarks. This unit will provide you with an unbreakable and untiring unit of anti-large, that while not having much armor piercing themselves, will sunder the army of enemies by 20 that they contact. Combat stats are slightly higher than that of the Jade Warriors, with a few points additional in each attack, defense, and weapon strength. For extra abilities, they will of course be unbreakable and have perfect vigor. They will also have the expert charge defense and charge reflect, being spearmen, and have an additional 20% in both physical and magical resistance. Next, we'll show off the sword variant to the Celestial Dragon Guard, a unit variant that I'm hoping will be added to vanilla just because extra weapon types for existing unit lines would make sense, and add more flavor and versatility to your campaign. I don't necessarily want a spear, sword, halberd, etc. for every unit type for every faction, but extra variants where they would make sense would be awesome for our campaigns. These are identical to your Halberd Dragon Guard, but with slightly modified stats to reflect being swordsmen, and a bonus versus infantry of 8. These will come from your Celestial Barracks first tier, and will be a very sturdy elite mainline infantry. Moving to the next tier in the Celestial Armory, we have the Frontier Guard, the most elite of the Cathayan soldier class. These awesome units come in a spear and sword and board flavor, and are both incredibly spicy. Your sword variant is going to have a silver shield, 116 armor, 46 melee attack, and 65 defense. They will have a bonus versus infantry and discourage those they contact, dropping leadership by 10 and melee attack by 5%. On top of all of that, they will have the woodsman trait, expert charge defense, 15% spell resist, and will encourage all nearby allies, boosting their leadership. A pile of stats with a pile of good traits with an awesome looking model. These will perform as well as expected against all of your foes. Their spear version is just as deadly but will be lacking a shield, so you won't want them soaking fire for too long. They've got 44 attack and 57 defense, will be discouraging enemies on contact, and have all of the good abilities that the sword version has, but with the expert charge defense and charge reflection of elite spears. The last infantry edition we'll be taking a look at will be the Sworn Gatekeepers. Again, incredible looking units that have clearly bought some equipment from Nippon. Coming in a Halberd and Greatsword variant, you'll be able to recruit these guys from your final tier of Celestial Beacon and a few other landmarks. Starting with our Nodachi wielders, this is a devastating flanking force with very high melee stats in 48 attack and 59 defense, and armor piercing and armor sundering damage. They've got 40 charge bonus, so you get even more damage in situations where you're able to cycle charge. They've got immune to psychology and will cause fear, also having a 20% missile resist to keep damage low while charging into the line of fire. Finally, we have these Sworn Gatekeepers with halberds. They've got very good stats for halberdier with all the same abilities as the previous unit, however they have no contact effect. And so I would honestly say only use these over the Frontier Guards if you really like this unit. The ability to drop enemy leadership and damage output being far superior to just stats. Still an absolutely incredible looking unit and a terror on the battlefield. But that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments below which is your favorite of the Cathayan infantry, either added in Radius or in the base game. Mine are easily going to be the Jade Sea Dragon Corps and all of their variants. But I have been Space Wizard Total War. Remember to leave a like for the Light God and a sub for the Sub Throne, and I will see you all in the next one.